Hello students. I'm going to spend a little bit of time looking at the week 2 portion of our project with Apollo Shoes. So I'm on week 2 for the project, and we are looking at internal controls, the internal control piece of our Excel spreadsheet. It's going to be the same spreadsheet that we used in week 1, and when we're done, we're going to upload it to the Dropbox. Now, I already have the spreadsheet here open. So here's on the assignment tab. Again, week 1 we did planning. This week we're going to do internal controls. Week 3 we're going to look at the cash and accounts receivable portion. But this week we're looking here. So as you can see, the memo here is not something we need to do. So we're going to have 3 pieces. We're going to do an internal control questionnaire. We're going to prepare a working paper for the revenue cycle, and we're going to prepare working papers for the purchasing cycle. And there are 3 separate tabs with all of that on it. So if I click down here, you can see we did all these tabs last week. There's these 3 tabs that correspond with our assignment here that we're going to be working on. So here is the first one. It is the questionnaire. And if we scroll down a little bit, you see that there are 17 questions. I've answered the first 3 to help you, to kind of get you on your way. The first question, is the credit department independent of the sales department? The way we know this is we go to the PDF that we downloaded at the beginning of the course that has all the information about our client, Apollo Shoes, and I read it. In there I found that yes, the credit department is independent of the sales department because the credit manager is part of the treasurer's office. So they report to the director of treasury, not to the director of sales, making them independent. So the sales manager doesn't have influence over the credit manager to get them to approve credit on a maybe a riskier potential customer in order to boost sales. Okay, the question 2 here, are sales of the following types controlled by the same procedure described below? I'm not going to finish that because in looking through the PDF, there's just not any information that answers that. So we don't really know. So my response would be no information available. Question 3, is access to sales invoice blanks restricted? And yes, in that PDF it tells us they are kept in a locked closet. Okay, so that's the type of answer we're looking for. A lot of these are going to be yes and no, but yes with a little description, or no with a little description, not just yes or not just no. You need to say why is it yes and why is it no. But really just a few short words. We're not looking for a full paragraph. And again, there are 17 of these. You've got the first 3 done, so you should have a pretty good start on that. The next is our revenue cycle, and I have started this. There's really only 4 I'm looking for here, so I've done half of this for you. The first one in the revenue cycle, index is S1, credit approval on sales order. That is the very first step. The implications of this is that credit authorization reduces risk of bad debt loss, and it helps check on the validity of customer identification. So it reduces debt loss because it helps you weed out those riskier customers that may not pay or may pay slow. So it gets rid of those, so we have less bad debt expense by having to write off those. And then it just verifies customer shipping information by looking to an outside source on that. The way we test that, the procedure is select a sample of recorded sales invoices and you look for the credit manager's signature on the sales order, and then you make notes of any missing sales orders, ones that are not approved. You also compare to the customer's accounts receivable for evidence of payment in advance. We can skip the test of controls piece on this one. The second one I've already filled out for you. Unit prices are taken from an authorized list. Then later personnel will recalculate and check the invoice math. Prices, or the implication here is that prices are in accordance with the company policy. making sure we're actually selling something that's supposed to be sold at $20 for $20. We're not selling it to $10 because that customer happens to be a buddy of ours. And then using the same sample we did here for S1, we would go through those invoices, we would compare it back to that master list, make sure the prices are matching there, and then we check the math that, 2 units at $10 a piece work out to $20, and then total it all up. So that's the revenue cycle. And then the third and the final is the purchasing cycle. I'm looking for up to as many as 5 here. I've done 1 for you. So W1, receiving should not get a copy of the PO even though quantities are blacked out. The implication here is since black ink is not permanent, it may be possible to determine the quantities ordered and skip the counting. What we don't want to happen is that somebody in receiving says, oh, I see here we ordered 10, I'm just going to write down 10 without actually counting them because surely they sent us 10 if that's what we ordered. We want them to actually count it so that if we're missing something, we catch it then and not later when we find out inventory is short and we wonder where is that item when it never actually even showed up. Okay, so the procedure here, consider using separate report with item descriptions. Quantities should not be printed. I will leave it up to you to complete the other 4 on this. And if you have any questions about this process or what is really needed for the revenue cycle and the purchasing cycle, do not hesitate to email me, pick up the phone and call me, but reach out so that you can complete this in a timely manner.